Here's a very cool strategy. When you bring new people into your group or organization, whether it's in a faith-based environment, whether it's an educational environment, whether it's in an entrepreneurial endeavor, whether it's a business or whatever leadership opportunity, when you bring people into your organization, like new hire as an example, whatever area that happens to be, along with your air quotes application, sure, you want to know a little bit about them. You want to know their background. You know their strengths, once again, their struggles, things that they do well, so you can help to amplify those things. And I think in addition, every organization could use a my favorite things application. Like, what's your favorite snack? What's your favorite holiday? What's your favorite, and a list of all these, and they seem relatively innocuous. But let's say you catch somebody in the act of doing good. One of my favorite snacks, for instance, is peanuts, believe it or not. It's kind of fun, but peanuts. Well, if I saddled up to you and said, hey, you know what, you're doing a great job. You're really making this organization level up. I really appreciate you. Go nuts.
Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Karl Ponto. Each week, I'll bring you stories, insights, and practical advice from experts that you can apply to your growing company and daily life. This week, I'm excited to connect with Dean Hankey. Dean really needs no introduction, which makes me wonder why I'm here. Congrats on needing no introduction, and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
I appreciate you. And I love that intro because it really is not about you or me. It's about the people we aim to serve, support, and encourage through genuine connections and leadership. So I love that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for being on the show. I love your energy and your mindset towards creating human connections for businesses to be more successful. So I'd love to hear about some ways that leaders can apply building connections and relationships with their teams that helps accelerate their growth.
Yeah, I love that. And I will say first and foremost, one of the things that we can do in a business is we can live in what we refer to as a no mind reading zone. And I'm talking about explicit, not implicit, but explicit connection and communication. Because when we fail to connect and communicate, we fail at everything else we do. Like if you've ever known anybody, you've probably had a connection or communication hiccup. Let me give you an example. And I know people won't be able to see us, but they'll be able to understand what I'm doing here. I'm holding up a little board, and it looks like a little question mark board. I'm going to write one word on this board, Karl. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of all the words in the English dictionary, and I'm going to write down one. Now, I will be fair. It's going to be a super short word. And as I write this word down, here's what I want you to do. Have you got a word?
Yes.
Good. All right. So now before we get started, so nobody thinks we're cheating, I've written it down. It won't go out of your sight now. Let's be fair. Let's be honest. Yes or no, have you any idea what word I've written down?
No, I'm guessing it's short.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There it goes. And it says the word no. Here's the thing. No is actually, it's an incomplete word. It really is and should be K-N-O-W, no. Here's what we know about human connection. No people, no success. But when you know, K-N-O-W, but when you know people, you will genuinely know success. Because if I want to serve you, how do I know how to serve you other than to know you? Which means I need to know your good, your bad, your strengths, your struggles, your challenges, your triumphs, all those things so I can get you the tools and resources if you're an employer or somebody in charge in a leadership position. So I know how to help you help the people we're supposed to help as a leader. Our job as a leader is no more complicated than leading so well that we as leaders become unnecessary and irrelevant. If organizations and leaders just adopted that super simple idea, lead so well that we become unnecessary and irrelevant. In other words, people could take our place quickly because they've been trained and supported and encouraged so well that there won't even be a hiccup or a snafu in the business flow. Matter of fact, it might even work better.
Yeah, I think the key is that you have to understand the people you work with, and you have to know about them, and not just their skills when it comes to the job they're doing, but who they are personally. Because if they're stressing out about something in their life that's outside of work, it's still going to impact their performance. It's going to impact how they interact with the rest of the team, and that stress is going to ripple through and impact your customers' experience because they're interacting with your employees. And so the way you can better improve your customers' experiences is to improve your employees' situation. And you don't know how to improve it or what they need help with unless you get to know them on a much more personal level than I think a lot of leaders are doing or even understand how to do well.
Come on now, preacher, brother man, bring us to church. Good man. I love that. And here's the thing. Here's a very cool strategy. When you bring new people into your group or organization, whether it's in a faith-based environment, whether it's an educational environment, whether it's in an entrepreneurial endeavor, whether it's a business or whatever leadership opportunity, when you bring people into your organization, like new hire as an example, whatever area that happens to be, along with your air quotes application, sure, you want to know a little bit about them. You want to know their background. You want to know their strengths. Once again, their struggles, things that they do well, so you can help to amplify those things. And I think in addition, every organization could use a my favorite things application. Like, what's your favorite snack? What's your favorite holiday? What's your favorite, and a list of all these, and they seem relatively innocuous. But let's say you catch somebody in the act of doing good. One of my favorite snacks, for instance, is peanuts, believe it or not. It's kind of fun, but peanuts. Well, if I saddled up to you and said, hey, you know what, you're doing a great job. You're really making this organization level up. I really appreciate you. Go nuts. And then you hand them their favorite snack or their favorite thing. And if you, again, their restaurant, all these kinds of cool things, and ask them their kids, their anniversary kinds of things. So when you, and I'm not saying if you, when you catch them in the act of doing great things, that you know how to celebrate them. Like, I'm not a big coffee guy. I mean, well, I'll drink coffee, but in order for me to drink coffee, it has to taste like ice cream, right?
Yeah.
And I would be like twice the man you see before you today if I drank liquid hot ice cream. So getting me a Starbucks coffee card is not a deposit in our relationship. It's nice. I appreciate it. I go, thank you very much. But you bring me nuts, I know you know me, and I'm going to outperform for somebody I know, like, and trust, that know, likes, and trusts me in those connection point relationships. So to me, it's a small thing. Add a few my favorite things to every one of those things, and you can start delivering on serving the people who serve the people you aim to serve.
And doing it in a way that shows, like you said, that personal touch, that deeper understanding of who they are as a person. Because, I think especially like the gift cards are kind of the generic, like,
sure,
I'm trying to be nice, but I don't really know you well enough to get you a real gift. So here's like, and it's such a, shallow, half-assed attempt to show you care.
Right.
Whereas if you actually if you ask them what they really like, build and get to know them and learn about them, and then you can actually give them a real gift. Like in your case, like I'm sure some, not just like bar peanuts, but some like nicer, like roasted, like some sort of like flavored peanuts would be like, just show that you like, it's that personal touch. Again, it takes like 30 seconds of extra effort to get gathered information and write it down somewhere. and then acting on it. But the amount of goodwill and community you build with your team is exponentially more impactful than the effort it takes to get that impact. And it ripples out from your actions all the way through the company and to your customers. I was talking with actually the previous person I had on the show.
Sure.
He was talking about how she does these employee spotlight stories that just little half-hour interviews with employees to get to know them and how much effective it is from a marketing standpoint, because people that might want to go to like the gym she works at, but aren't sure what the class is about, but they know the instructor cares about the same sort of things they do. Oh, they'll have something in common. I'm going to go hang out and check this out, and I'll sign up for a course. For your team as well, if people know, oh, so-and-so really likes this sort of chocolates, that's their kind of it's their treat. I grew up on those things. I love them as well. They're something you can bond over as coworkers, and it makes your team more into a community, and people are much more likely to stay at a job where they feel like they belong because they're working with people that share their values outside of just the industry they work in.
Absolutely. Let me share with you a super simple, what I call 3-step VIP process for getting or giving anything you want on command and demand, and have people fall in love with you for the process. So no more selling, whether it's selling an employee job title or job description or job action, whether it's marketing to the consumer. And I'm with you in we are no longer in the B2B or B2C, business to business, business to consumer space. We're all in the P2P or people to people, and you say H to H, human to human space. When we realize that, the B2B and B2C and all those other, busy bee stuff, that stuff happens. So the super simple 3-step process, we call it VIP, which is first, foremost, upfront, in advance, always and forevermore, add value, like make deposits in that person's life, add value. Now that value has to do something. That value has to add impact in the VIP, right? So add value that generates impact or results for others, whether it's a Starbucks gift card or a chocolate sauce or a can of peanuts, whatever it happens to be. Add value that generates impact for others. And then, only then, do we profit. And when I say profit, I mean emotionally, spiritually, relationally, intellectually, and of course, as business leaders, financially. But that profit is where you get the results that everybody wants, not just you, but everybody. So as you said earlier, as you serve the people who serve the people, you serve them well, are they more or less likely to serve the people that they're supposed to be serving well through customer interaction? And again, we're not a big fan of customers, clients, suspects, prospects. We use champions, rock stars, heroes, legends, tribe, family, community. So, if you showed up at work and I said, yo, Karl, what up? I'm so happy to have you part of this family. Now, or I'm so glad that you are one of our customers or one of our employees. Change your language, change your impact. So, VIP, add value that generates impact or deposits or results, and then you'll profit. Here's the thing. Most businesses, most interactions do it exactly the opposite. They PIV. Like, you pay me, like you show up to work or you buy my sandwich or you do whatever it is, you pay me, then I'll give you some value, some impact that might deliver some value. That's the way 99.9% of business. But you and I, understanding the charismatic human connection paradigm, the idea that care is magic. The way we serve people is by, serving them, right? And caring more about them than we do about even ourselves in some cases. So, and I'm not saying self-care isn't a great thing and all that stuff, but if you want to lead and you look behind you and nobody's following, you're just out on a stroll. Like, you got to lead from the front, and you got to lead in a way that gets people to want to follow what it is you have to say. So add value, generates impact, and then everybody profits. It's kind of a cool win-win, easy peasy kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's the idea that if you want to get people, if you want to get something from someone, you need to give that something first. And for businesses, if they want to get customers to be loyal and to return to working with them and to buy from them, starting by providing that sense of community and belonging and personal connection in through the marketing and through the experiences that customers have when they're first building those relationships with employee, with like the touch points. That's how you get people to be inspired to buy more and also then stay and not just regret the decision. Because I think a lot of companies, and I've talked about this in previous episodes with people, like rushed from initial touch point to, okay, now let's sell you something without building a relationship first. And it's like the same thing. You wouldn't walk up to someone, go, hi, nice to meet you, marry me. And like that doesn't work. You're not building a relationship there. So businesses are the same thing. You have to date, you have to build a relationship with your customers first. And then you'll get what you want. But if you can't just keep skipping the relationship building step.
Absolutely. I think it's more of a re-relationship than just a relationship. A re-relationship is the idea that you re-elate to people. You fall in love, to elate over and over and over and over. In other words, there's a choosing mechanism. You have to choose to recognize, celebrate, serve, support, encourage, help the people that you work with, or if you didn't have a relationship, if you didn't choose to fall back in love with your spouse, or again in the workplace, the people that you are in charge of serving, most leaders, or I wouldn't even give them the title of leaders, but most managers or bosses say, you work for me. Most leaders say, I work for you. How can I help you be more successful serving the people? And then guess what? Everybody add value, generates impact in a relationship. Acknowledge and celebrate and catch people in the act of doing great things, all that stuff.
And I think I have seen a lot of articles about how servant leadership is going to be a trend in 2025, and that the companies that are able to embrace that and actually put that into practice are going to attract the best talent and be the most successful companies going forward, because people are craving this sort of experiences at work, and they're just not getting it at like I said, most organizations out there. And so if you're going to be competitive and stand out in the marketplace as an employer brand and just as a brand, then adopting this sort of methodology and practice is going to be key.
Yep. We are created, like from the beginning, regardless of your faith perspective, we are created for relationship. We are created to be in connection with other human beings. It's like, solitary is punishment for a reason, because when we don't connect with others digitally, physically, online, on stage, however it happens to be, you want to make sure that we're connecting. And here's the thing. You want to super simplify your process in human connection. Simply find a way to make more deposits than withdrawals. I mean, think about it just like a traditional financial metaphor, if you will. Like, what happens if you make more withdrawals from your bank account than deposits? Well, there's penalties, fees, levies. You potentially go bankrupt. Well, that's what happens in human connection if you fail to make more deposits than withdrawals. You go bankrupt. So the goal is you put more deposits, whether it's a can of peanuts, whether it's a good day, whether it's a smile, catching them in the act of doing great. Imagine coming into your workplace and on one Monday morning, there's a red carpet and there's 50 people with cameras going, "Oh my gosh, Karl, you're here. Can I get your autograph?" And they're taking your picture. And it's like a paparazzi line at an Oscar Awards celebration. Can you imagine what that employee base would feel like if they had that level of, now that's a little bit ridiculous or theatrical, but we've had organizations implement those kinds of what we call charismatic strategies into their business, where they just, whether it's, again, the red carpet thing, or whether it's just catching them in the act of doing really good things. When did be nice, do good become a strategy? Right? When did be nice, do good? It should be the way we eat, sleep, drink, breathe, interact. Be nice, do good. If you just add value that generates impact, you'll get profit. It's really that simple, I think, anyway.
Yeah, and it's something that I think it's not something new. It just people need to be reminded of it because it's been kind of beaten out of our culture. And I think the way forward is to remember that, and it's for businesses that want to get what they want, which is more success, more profits, more growth.
Absolutely.
The secret is just to remember the core tenets of how to build relationships with your employees and your customers, and it'll happen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for connecting with me today, Dean. If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection podcast, please leave a review, and share it. If you'd like to connect with myself or Dean, check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.